Should be live.
We're in. We're on episode 2. Let's go. Welcome to the Halftime Talks podcast with Jay Driscoll, which is me. We've got Dan to my right. We've got Josh to my left, and to his left we have Connor. So today we're going to be doing another weekly, roundup of anything that's gone in the Prem, and later on we'll be talking about the other leagues, the League One, League Two, and Championship. So
in no particular order.
Love a strong start.
But firstly, let's talk about the Manchester derby that happened this weekend with a 2-0 to Manchester United, which is a big loss for City, obviously being top of the league. But the question is it really a big win for United? Joshua, what do you think?
I think we're saying big loss for City. It won't change anything in the title race for them. So obviously the fact is for Derby is why it's a big loss for them. As for United, then yes, it is a big win. The points are tied to the top of the table. They need to really secure that Champions League place, which I think they'll get. But the big win is the occasion of it being a derby, getting Manchester back to being red for this game week until the next derby, and securing their place as a Champions League side next season. It is a big win for them.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think it's not a big loss for City, but I think it's a massive win for United for exactly the reasons that you just named. They've not yet secured top 4. They could still survive it, but I think with that win, they're going to stay in there.
It's tight, only 3 or 4 points in there, aren't they? But yeah, I agree. I think in terms of the game, the City really, it's never a nothing game. It's a derby.
Yeah.
But in terms of point standings for City, it's a nothing. I think most games now they get big, you go get big. Right? We know we'll win the next 10.
Yeah.
So we're not really bothered. In terms of United, it is massive, it's huge. Not just points, but I agree with the lads. It's a derby. And any win, you could be rock bottom of the table. You beat your rivals. Something you brag about for the rest of the week. It's something you do enjoy. So it's a big win. And to be fair, you know what? United actually played very, very well. Very well.
Yeah, I was going to raise that point. They didn't just narrowly beat Man City where they sat back, did nothing and grabbed a scrappy goal. They played City off the park for the most part of the game.
Yeah, no, obviously Henderson did an amazing throw to Shaw, getting it out. But let's talk about that first goal for Man United, which was a penalty given away by Gabriel Jesus. And really, it's just sloppy, don't you think, Banter?
Yeah, me and Josh talked about it before, and I think it's the fact that Gabriel Jesus has lost the ball. His first instinct, I'm going to go win that ball back. But the moment it gets in your box and you're behind Martial, leave it for the defenders. There was 2 or 3 defenders sort of stopping him going to goal. I just think United started quicker than City anticipated, and that probably caught City a little bit off guard. It's stupid by Jesus, and if I was a centre back, I'd be screaming, just leave it. Let me play that ball.
See, it's a penalty.
Oh,
It's so unfair. There's no disputing that. I think he's quite unfortunate. I think he's quite unlucky there. I think I agree with you. He loses the ball. He wants to go and win it back. But I think that there are.
Nice one for following.
Cheers. There are that many players around him, and ways running. I think it's a bit of a tangle as opposed to intent of a foul. Yeah. But even still, it's a penalty. You look at the Trent Alexander-Arnold one. It's a penalty. In the modern day, right, it's a penalty without a doubt. But I think it's a bit more of a tangle as he's running in the motion than what it is an intent of a foul.
But as a striker, does it not get to the point where it gets in your team's box, you're a bit like, I'm going to let this go in.
Yeah, I think
not if you're the only man to get that ball back, but I think Ruben Diaz and John Stones were both sort of like.
Yeah, I think it comes from exactly what you said. Like I described it to you when we talked about it earlier. It's a striker's foul. It's one he doesn't need to be making, but giving the ball away, them coming out of the blocks at City like they did, because he was the one who gave it away. Yeah. That's where his sort of desire and how much he wanted to get the ball back came from.
I think the question has to be raised. Why the bloody hell was he there in the first place?
Well, this is what we said.
Yeah, we had this conversation.
It's not going to talk about it, but if we were talking about, Rodri's done it, or someone like that, fine, but when you talk Gabriel Jesus, why is he there? He shouldn't be there in the first place.
I think it probably comes down to like Josh was saying before. I think United just started a lot quicker than sort of City. I think City probably anticipated having the ball for 20 minutes without United doing anything. So Jesus has probably come back trying to get involved with the player why United are not doing anything. The reality is United have started very well.
Yeah.
Got in the box. Jesus shouldn't be there. There's no question. He should not be there. But he's had that desire to win the ball back, and it's cost his team a penalty.
You know what though as well? Obviously, we spoke last week. We spoke about United against the top six.
Yeah.
Against the big six, going out playing for points. But I think United fans have to look at that. Like we said, they didn't just nick it. They played really well. I think City probably looked at it and looked at what we were saying. No, City. City were watching this.
Gladiolus,
Those lads, I tell you what,
they've
got it.
Get out of the team.
He's listened to us.
They probably looked at what we looked at and gone, they're going to play for a point here. They'll sit back, they'll try and nick it. It's like you said, they didn't do that. They went to win it. For once against the Big Six, Man United this season went to win a game. And they've done it. Which asks the question, why have they not been doing it?
I think that's the annoying thing. I think you can't just put it down to it being a derby. The reality is, if you play the top six and you want to stay in the top six, you have to go and beat those sides. We said this last week. It's confusing to why they've gone to the Etihad and decided that that's the game, because that's your hardest game.
Yeah.
And that's if any game you'd expect
to
sit back and go,
I think as well. Why this one? They've played City already in the league.
Exactly.
They played them in the cup. They didn't do it then. They got absolutely battered in the cup. And I think a 0-0 draw. That was one of those boring games. Of what?
In the Premier League.
Why this one? Why now? 28 games of the season. Title race is gone. Why now do you go? Tell you what, lads. I think we should actually go and win this one. But fair play to them. They did it. They played very well, and they got a very, very good result.
Well, like I said, I don't think City were expecting them to just go for it. Like the previous times, United stayed back, and I think that's why City went in with the illusion we will have control in the first half.
I think it's fair play to United setting up differently to shock City.
Yeah, very well put.
It is what you expect a team to do, with the just failing and failing to change things up.
True,
so it's
very clever from a Norwegian PE teacher.
But yeah, and obviously Shaw, being a defender, especially a left back, scoring like he did, it was something. Like it was something special. You can't deny that. It was a beautiful, beautiful.
It was a good
finish.
finish.
A bit more, but yeah, it was a really good finish. But how was he able to get where he was to score? Like damn, why do you think he managed?
Again, I mean, I don't really know why he's there, but that goal, I don't think it's poor defending. Do I think someone should close him down? Well, what's he have? One touch before he hits it? Very, you've got to be quick to close him down on that. I just think it's a cracking finish. I don't think you can look at it and say City, they could have stopped that. It's bad defending. Could they have maybe pressed him quicker? Possibly. But at the end of the day, it was a good finish. It was just one of them goals where you go, do you know what? I can't. The keeper's not going to stop that. I can't do anything about it. It's gone in. But again, you ask the question: why was City put in that place? Why would they put there in the first place?
I think for Luke Shaw, it's probably a big moment for him because I think a lot of United fans, and again, if you're watching, feel free to put your opinions in. I think the sort of agreed sort of idea all season has been if you're playing a team we're going to attack, Alex Telles is probably the better left back. He's better at attacking. But Luke Shaw's been class this season defensively. I think if he can add that attacking side to his game, which that could be a point that he might be trying to do that. I think you could arguably say he's maybe been the best left back in the Premier League this season. I think he's been unreal. In terms of improvement, I think he's been absolutely unreal. But if he can add that attacking side, which he clearly wants to do, he wants to score goals and stuff, because he actually had a chance before that, didn't he? Where he got straight to the keeper. He's clearly proven that he wants to add that to his game, and if he can, I think that could be a massive tool for United.
He's got to stay fit. I mean,
Yeah,
that's it.
that's all.
Throughout his career,
He's got to stay fit.
even his Southampton days, big injury, there's always been a thing with Shaw.
It has. And this season, probably in the first season, not really had a big injury. He's played consistently.
Look how well he's done.
And look how he's played.
We're talking about him in team.
I mean, to be fair, we've talked at the start of the season how probably the impact of them bringing in Tellers probably made him better because he's actually looking. Because before that, if he didn't play, we're going to have to shove Ashley Young there, not Luke Young, Jesus. That's a throwback. We're going to have to shove Ashley Young out of position there. And it was like he knew if he was fit, it was probably going to be his position. But now he knows if he's not playing well, Alex Tellers can just slot in. So he probably knows he's got to play well.
Quickly on the flip side of that, Alex Tellers, does he go? He's too good. Luke, I can't question Luke Shaw being picked. Alex Tellers is too good to be second choice. Second choice left back, whether it's at Manchester United or not. I don't like they got him for a bargain of 15 mil, but he's far too good to be second string left back at Manchester United.
No, I agree. It's just, I think he'll probably stick it out another season, see if he can break his way, and if he doesn't, I think then he has to go.
Yeah, because it's very different compared to City, where they have world class players, but a lot of players are happy to do that because they're at Man City.
Yeah.
You're not at United, you're not winning things.
It's like the discussion we had with City, like Jesus, how he's been through most of his career as second choice. But at United, you're not winning that much.
You're not winning anything.
A player of his quality probably walks into any Premier League sides.
Yeah.
At least he contends to be there.
He's definitely part of the squad.
Yeah, he's a squad player.
You're playing a lot of games.
Well, if you're his quality, you don't want to be a squad player.
No.
Especially not when you're not winning things. That's United's problem.
Well, the question is, obviously, City are at the top with 66 points, and Man United in second with 54. That's obviously, the 12 difference. That's what 4 games you need to win to catch up.
That's settled. That won't be happening.
City won't lose enough for them to even catch. I think United will slip up somewhere in that.
So, do you think this loss is just a blip?
It's
20 games unbeaten or something before it.
Oh yeah. I tell you what, Pep will have got into that dressing room, right? And he wouldn't have been happy about the way they played. But I don't think Pep would have gone home thinking, wow, they're in the Premier,
Yeah.
They know, right? They know, they've been beat off United. No, they're not bothered. They'd be bothered that they've been beat off United, but they're not bothered that they've lost the game because they know that they're going to win the league. 9 games, City aren't going to lose 4 of them.
No.
Yeah, true.
Not a chance of it. So, they're all right. I mean, they're currently playing now, they're playing Southampton.
Yeah, just go
Kevin De Bruyne just scored.
See, there we go. So, I mean, they're not bothered. They'll go on to win the league. They're all right with it.
Well, moving from first and second on the table to third with Leicester City, who played Brighton. Obviously, the score being 1-0 to Brighton and 2 to Leicester.
I got a bit worried then. That was
1-0
weird.
to Brighton.
1-0 to Brighton. I'm sure it wasn't.
Yeah, no, 1 to Brighton, 2 to Leicester. I've lost my train of thought. But it's just because Adam Lallana scored his first goal for Brighton.
Get you excited.
But Leicester is now back in third place, which is obviously great for them. But do you reckon they can hold on to third, or do you reckon it's going to be tough to keep that position?
It's just reiterating sort of what we said last season. Jesus Christ, we're all losing our train of thought. What we said last week, it's just inconsistency for Leicester. Yeah, okay, they've gone to Brighton and won, but they could have easily lost. Lost. It is just that consistency. Can they hold on to? I do see them slipping out on consistency basis. For me, I think they'll slip out. Is this a big result for them? Yeah, they needed to win it, and they obviously had to come from behind, which is good for them. But I see them slipping out of the top 4, to be honest.
Yeah, looking at the teams around them, I think it will be close. I do. I think Chelsea will go into third. They've been fantastic. They've been absolutely outstanding. Yeah. I think they'll go into third. Looking at the teams then around Leicester, genuine contenders for you. Really, you're looking at Leicester, Everton, West Ham. Spurs and Liverpool, you can go possibly sneak it. The way Spurs are playing at the minute, possibly sneak in. I think Leicester will have just enough, just to hold on to 4. I just think compared to the quality of West Ham and Everton, I think Leicester have just enough quality to keep fourth. But will they look at? I mean, they're obviously looking and go, it's great we finished fourth. But compared to how they was and where they started at the first half of the season, I think they're looking at going bit of a sweat off the eyebrows moment. They're going, oh, we've clinged on to the fourth.
One down in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, but I do just think the only teams that might catch them are either Tottenham or Liverpool, which no offense to West Ham or Everton, because they both had great seasons.
I think West Ham could catch them. I really do. I think West Ham would be.
West Ham have been playing really well.
They have been class, but when I look at the teams that are most likely to drop points, if you would say to me at the weekend, Leicester, West Ham, which team do you think is more likely to lose? I'm going West Ham.
Yeah.
And that's my only thing. I'm not saying
Leicester.
West Ham haven't been class. I'm saying it. The teams around them, I think they've got just enough to just keep holding it.
I agree with Dan on the top four. I think Chelsea on it third. I think Leicester will slide down the table. But then if York have points, you're looking at sort of a 5-point gap rather than 3 points. That's not something that can be close. Even if they are inconsistent and lose a game here, they'll bounce back.
Yeah.
They'll win the next game. I think they'll get fourth. I think it'll be a skin of a teeth, and I think it'll be closer than many Leicester staff and players are probably expecting it to be at the minute. Well, I do think they'll just hold on, but consistency is the issue of the King Power.
Yeah. See, what I want to know though, because obviously they've had quite a few players out, and they still do have a few players out due to injury. Say when them players come back, could they not help them to secure a place like Maddison? He's out, and he's a good player. Exactly. And when he returns, could he not, reinvigorate the team to keep that position? That's so open to.
But I think this is the issue we've sort of ruled with Leicester is the reality is a team that wants to be finishing in the top four. If a big player gets injured, you have to have someone that can come in and do a job. You just have to have someone waiting to do a job. It's hard because not a lot of players want to, be that player. But you have to have someone that will come in and do a job. Yeah, of course, Maddison coming back is going to have an impact because he's absolutely unreal. He's classy. He has that impact on them. But the thing with Leicester is, maybe not so much this season because we're nearly at the end. Next season, they've got to get players in that if this happens again, like Vardy gets an injury, Maddison gets there's got to be someone waiting to just step into the team. They can't keep relying on, Maddison's injured, what we're going to do now? We're going to have to go on a run of bad results because Maddison, they can't do that. If they want to be in the top four next season, they've got to have players that can just step in.
Yeah, I think they've been very, very lucky actually that last few weeks Vardy's out. Ian actually scored.
Yeah,
it's just, we're not going to sit and say, Atcher's coming in, he'll do a great job, he could prove to be that player. They've been very lucky that he has come in and he's got them a couple of goals because if he'd have come in and played like he has done, the way we've seen him for the last 2 seasons, they won't be getting points the way they are. And it's like we said before, yes, Maddison and players like can come in and reinvigorate. But it's as Connor's just said there, if you don't have the players for the backup, especially going into the Champions League, you've got to have depth. You've got to have quality of depth. And it's harsh on Leicester because they do have a very good squad. But as we've seen with a few clubs this season, if you've got a big injury crisis and you've not got the players there to back it up, you're not going to get results. You've got to have quality. And to be honest, I think if Leicester get Champions League, I think as John said, I think that's another big pull for them. Again, look at the likes of some of the players they've managed to sign. Tielemans, bringing him in. Wilfred Ndidi, but absolutely outstanding. But I think
it's also keeping hold of those.
Well, that's the thing. And I think you look at Leicester now compared to when they won the league. I think the reason they lost a lot of players when they won the league is because nobody especially the players, didn't expect them to do it. The players now expect, they're happy to be in Champions League, so I think they're happy going.
We're staying. The system's working.
This is brilliant. We're happy.
We're a good team.
I don't think they'll have a problem. Tielemans just signed a new deal. I don't think they'll have a problem keeping all the players, but they've got to go out and spend.
Yeah,
they have to.
Well, I was going to say they need someone who can step in if someone does get injured, and obviously, like Dan said, you need to go buy some new players for next season, but. In this season, who do you want to see fill James Maddison's place, for example? Who do you think could replace James Maddison?
That's currently in Leicester's team.
Yeah.
There's no one that touches that quality.
No.
There isn't.
No. You could play someone, but you
But they're not
lost
going
a
to
chance.
do what Maddison does.
Apart from Vardy, Madison's probably the best player in Leicester's squad.
Yeah.
And you're not talking, there's a couple of players by far.
Yeah.
I agree with Connor, there's no one. Nobody.
No one will come close.
And that is their issue.
Yeah, that's the point.
Who do you reckon could be the closest then? Like, obviously, no one, I just said, all agree. No one can replace James Maddison or even fill in his steps. But if you had to pick someone who would take, do a job what James Maddison does,
If
do
I
you
was,
have anyone?
If I was Brendan
Or is
Rodgers, you've got the midfielders up there. Like your first teamers who you know about their defensive midfielders. I'd be looking in the forwards, and it would unfortunately be a case of one of your wingers, an Ooms or a Perez type player.
Well,
Just coming in and doing a job in a slightly deeper
Let's
role.
play it. Maybe slipping into the middle.
I've seen Harvey Barnes play camp for West Brom.
Yeah.
And I think Jose Perez could play there
Yeah.
as well. But they just don't.
I'd probably go with Perez if he's fit, but it's not natural.
Because what he could do is, say James Justin is fit, I know he's not, but say they've got two fullbacks. We've seen it this season. If you played Harvey Barnes in the middle, Timothy Castagna, push him forward a little bit.
Yeah.
But again, you look at
Well, Castagna's played fullback a few times. Maybe
Yeah, that's
Justin
what I'm
is
saying.
younger, a bit more energetic, a
Yeah.
bit more burst.
Yeah.
Would it be easier to push him up and Castagna fit in the fullback role?
that's it's a problem we're talking about. You're asking who do we put in instead of Maddison. What about playing players out of position?
Exactly.
It just
That
shows
shows
yeah,
exactly what
yeah.
Connor was
We've
saying.
done midfielders. But
I'm going to say my right winger in there.
It just proves the problem. There is no one. But Collins smashed it on the end of the fact that there is nobody.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough. Well, looking at who they
Did
play
actually
against.
have a comment before?
Oh, and it's asking why we're on the water, not the dark fruit.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, for legal purposes and branding.
Yeah, we don't want to be, out of it by the end of this.
Very professional.
But
Although we would like to promote TAP for the water. Cheers, TAP. Thanks, TAP.
oh, well,
Pay your water bill.
let's do that.
Always.
Well, anyway, moving on from our sponsors of tap water. Brighton played against Leicester, and obviously they're very close to relegation on the same points as Fulham, who are in 18th place, Brighton being 17th, with Fulham not losing many games recently, but Brighton is now getting a losing streak. So, do you think Brighton's going to replace Fulham in the relegation zone?
That result, I think, meant a lot for Brighton, but in a bad way, because they were 1-0 up, and they probably didn't think, Fulham were going to go to Anfield and get 3 points. But you can't have that outside. It can't be the fact that you're looking at other teams going, Fulham are only playing Liverpool, they're not going to get points, so it doesn't matter. You have to go and get the points, and if you're 1-0 up, you have to hold on to them. And with the way Fulham are playing, if I was Brighton at the minute, I'd be quite concerned.
Yeah, I feel bad for Brighton, mate. I do. I've got a soft spot for them this season just because I've watched them numerous times. They play fantastic. They really do play so good. Play fantastic football, but so unlucky. Not just in the games, they've had some terrible decisions go against them. They really have. I think if they go down, it would be. I think it'd be a real shame for Brighton. I do.
Would you, if you're Graham Potter, and I'll open this up to anyone. Right, you're Graham Potter. Everyone's saying you play fantastic football. This. You're unlucky. Do you not change it to the end of the season so that you stay up? Play ugly football if you have to get results. Because the reality is, playing good football might not keep you in the Premier League. If you're losing every week, it might not keep you in the Premier League. Would it make sense for him? And is it a question? Because I know a lot of people say that managers should always stick to their philosophy. Would it make sense for Graham Potter to just go to the end of the season? We're going to play ugly football. We're going to grind out results. Stay in the Premier League. Next season, I'll invest in better players to play my system, and next season we'll try again. Because the reality is, you go down. He's not going to have that much spend to make his system
I agree
better.
completely with you. And what I will say is, we mentioned Brighton and Newcastle as maybe being, I think they're safe. We mentioned Brighton and Newcastle as the two teams most likely to be dragged into it. They both have a game in hand on Fulham who are below them. That's the thing, if you're in Newcastle, if you're Steve Bruce, Graham Potter, you have to be thinking, this is in our hands. We've got control of this. If Fulham win every game, and so do we, we're still safe. They've got that game in hand, and they have to really grab it by the horns, take control of that. And I agree with what you say. If you do need to play ugly football against the style you usually do, to get the results, when you're in that situation with Fulham picking up form just at the right time, it seems, that's what you have to do.
I think it's getting to that part of the season where you have to say, do we just change something here to get results?
I do agree slightly. Like you said, they do play brilliant football. Like
they do. They're fantastic.
Like they've got good players. They are. I reckon they are Premier League standard. But like they just need. If I was Graham, I would tell them just to secure points. Don't play pretty football or nice football, whatever you want to call it. Get the points at the end of the day. It's all nice playing and looking all nice, but if you're not getting the results, then clearly, it's not where you want to be.
See, I get what you're saying, and I do think they've got the players to do it. If they wanted to stick 5 at the back, they've got 3 defenders that can, they could easily step in and play at 5. Veltman, Van Burn, Webster, I think he's been superb this season. Lewis Dunk. But for me, I don't think that'd do it for Brighton. I like the way they play. I don't want to see them play ugly football. I don't think if they started playing ugly football now, I don't think they'd secure points.
It worked with Houghton with a very similar team. Yeah. He didn't play attractive football as such. He just sat back, grind out results. It's complete to opinion, but I just think it's getting to the point that if I'm Graham Potter now, I'm looking at Fulham going, they're going to pick up some results at the end of the season. We need to as well.
But Fulham haven't, picking up points recently. They've not done that by playing ugly football.
It's working for Fulham though. It isn't working for Brighton. You have to look at what's getting your results at that moment. And I don't think it's bad management to look and go, look, what I'm trying to do here, I've not got the tools to do it. I'm just going to keep us up and we'll go again next season. I don't think it's bad management to do that.
But do you not think Graham Potter, I know you look at it and say, we're close to a relegation scrap here. But Scott Parker at Fulham is obviously confident in his system. It's working fine. I don't think that this system, Brian, I don't think it's not working. I know them, get on where they are. I don't think it's not working. I think it's a style of football they should be playing. Some of the decisions they've had, and I'm not going to sit here and blame their season on decisions because there's been a lot of times where they've played games, they've played fantastically, they've just not come out of it with a result. Eventually that does cost you. And we saw it with Wolves last time they were really fantastic football went down. But I look at them and I think the players they've got, maybe I wouldn't play Graham Potter's system, but I don't think I'd change it to ugly football and just let's sit everyone back and go to. I think Brighton have the quality to beat the likes of Newcastle. Yeah. I think they've got the quality to beat the likes of Palace, teams above them. I think they give Leeds a good go. I think if they were playing now, I think they could give Leeds a good go. Against bigger teams, obviously, they played us. They were Liverpool, for anyone watching, but they played us and they sat back. Again, it's that style of knowing when to do it and what to do.
I think it's more game management than changing your system completely, saying, you know what, we're just going to proper Sam Allardyce it, so to speak. We're going to have the banks, we're going to keep them, and we're going to nick a goal in there. I think go out, play your football, and then if you want to with your football and it's coming to the 70th minute, then it's game management more so than changing the system completely.
We'll go for it later, but that is exactly what I do as Graham Potter. I continue to play my system against the big 6, or 7, 8, whatever you fancy yourselves to beat up to. Play your system, right? Against the big 6, 7, 8, whatever. Stick 5 at the back, sit back.
Yeah.
It's about, for me, it's not about one system or it's not about knowing whether or not this system's working or it's not. For me, it's about knowing who you're playing. Knowing it's exactly what Josh just said. That it's game management for Brighton. For me, it's knowing about who you're playing. How are they going to play? Is your system going to fit against us? Is it going to work for you? If you're a team that sits back and you're Brighton, right, you'll go, yeah, all right, yeah, we'll just play our system. So we'll just go at them. If you're playing one of the bigger teams, stick 5 at the back. Let them have the ball. We've seen teams do it this season against Liverpool. We've seen teams do it against City. Sheffield United were lucky against Man City. Sit back.
Yeah.
For me, it's about who you're playing. And as you just said there, Josh, it's about your game management. It's about knowing, start with our system. If it's not working and we're 1-0 up, or you go 1-0 up, okay, sit back. Is that a bit negative? Yeah, but it gets you points. But I don't think they should go out straight away now and just play ugly football, because I think if they were to just try and sit back all game, I think there's a lot of teams that would probably, still score and concede. But I agree with Connor. I agree with all of you. But I don't think it's about changing it fully. I just think it needs better game management.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Well, I don't know, about the tactics. I can't say I am Graham, but I don't know if you don't know.
This is not Graham Potter.
I'm not Graham. I'm just going to let you know that. I know there's a bit of distance between Cameron and us, but I'm not Graham. Well, you can't prove I'm not Graham, but
And the podcast was pulling back.
Yeah, but I can't say I know what Graham's thinking, which is fair enough. I don't think many people can read minds, but
Bet Graham could.
Graham could tell you.
Yeah,
the
real Graham. But Brighton, I don't know how I've gone here. I don't know how I've gone.
You're not Graham Potter.
You are Graham. Graham's probably thinking a very similar thing after losing the 1-0 lead.
I'm not Graham Potter. I'm not Graham Potter.
I said that and I just started thinking about being Graham Potter. I can't. Oh, it's just being able to mind.
Quick one then. Go on. What would a day in the life of Graham Potter look like? Quick break, go on.
Well, I'd wake up, give Aaron Lallana a good call.
Oh, of course you would.
Yeah, because I love the man. God, this is spiraled.
Do you want to talk about Chelsea, Jake?
Anyway, moving on to oh,
Just to clarify the fans, you're not Thomas Tuchel.
Yeah, no, I'm also not Thomas. Alright. Alright. Now let's look at someone who is under Leicester now, which is Chelsea, who played Everton, with Chelsea winning 2-0. And I've got to say, it was an unlucky game for Godfrey, who scored an own goal. But,
it wasn't unlucky.
Well,
It was harsh.
There's nothing he could do about it.
True,
the ball
yeah.
absolutely battered against him, and he just sort of stood there and it flew in. It was unlucky, but it was good build-up play from Chelsea. It was.
They had it coming. We've watched the game together. Chelsea have been piling on the pressure since the go. Since kick-off, they've been piling up the pressure on Everton. They look the better team. I think Everton had something like 18% possession. And the goal was coming. It's unfortunate for Godfrey the way it has. There's nothing he could have done about it, but it's not any sort of misrepresentation of Everton and how they were playing that game.
Yeah, it was unfortunate for him, really.
Well, obviously, Everton last week, winning their game, got moved up into 4th position, was it?
Very briefly, yeah.
And now they're back down to 6th, which is, as we said last week, we weren't sure if they could secure that top 4 position. But Chelsea, I'm going to ask you the same question: can they secure that top 4 position?
Chelsea?
Yeah, Chelsea.
Chelsea will. Chelsea are finishing in the top 4 easily, probably 3rd.
Yeah.
And I think in terms of Everton, with the form of, if Leicester can carry on winning games and if West Ham can carry on, there's not a chance Everton will get back into it, because they aren't winning games like that they need to win to get into the top 4. But like we said,
the last 6 they won 3, lost 3.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's not top 6.
No, it's not.
But it's not a bad season for Everton.
Spurs are a point behind Everton, playing really well.
It's a superb point. It's a superb season for Everton. To be quite honest with you, I don't think Everton expected to finish in the top 4, even when they were in and around it. Even going back up to 4th last week, I don't think they expected to finish in there. But you look at the top 4, just under the top 4 even, it's so close. That changes week to week. Connor's smashed it on the head. If you want to finish in the top 4, you've got to be beating the teams around you. But if they didn't beat Chelsea, to be quite honest, they weren't even close to beating Chelsea.
No.
They were a million miles
They
away.
didn't create anything.
Josh Slattery didn't create anything. They were a million miles away. You won't finish top 4, but getting back into Europe is
That's
very successful season if you're Everton. Very.
Well, after this loss, obviously they had a shocking game, for lack of better words. What would you do now if you were the Everton manager? Like,
I keep
to
doing that
secure-
now. It's working for
secure
most
that
of it.
fifth position.
You're picking up
No,
results
it's-
for the most part.
Literally, it's not about, for me, with Everton and where they are, it's not about anything the manager. I think Ancelotti's doing a superb job.
Yeah, yes.
I think he's just got to carry on. I think all it is for Everton now, moving forward, is building a better squad, having a better pool of quality players.
Which European football will get you.
With European football, or even if it's Europa League, and Ancelotti in charge, the pull that man is incredible. They've just got to go and get better squad, better quality players, and I think that. I don't think they'll even get close to top 4.
No.
I don't.
No,
I still think they're miles off that. But Everton this season, you look at it and go, right, they're back where they should be.
Fans outside.
Yeah,
You picked up on that.
Carl. It's all them bloody groupies out here. Yeah, I don't know what you think about it, Connor, but I think he just carries on as he is doing. Finish the season strongly as where they are.
I think he has to. He won't be looking at that result thinking, oh, we should have beat Chelsea. The reality is, I'm sure he's very honest in his head. Of course, he would have liked to have beat Chelsea. He's that kind of manager. But he won't be going on thinking, oh, we've missed a chance. He knows it's been a good season. And I think he's honest enough to go, we've done well this season. If we can get back into Europe, we'll just try again next season. Try again. I'll build more. He won't be going on disappointed, I don't think. Yeah, okay, he lost. He's not looking at it thinking we should have beat Chelsea. Not a chance. He's got to be honest. He's done a fantastic job, I think, wherever they finish. Because they're not going to drop any much lower than where they are.
I totally agree. And with the players who have like Richarlison, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, James, Rodriguez. Andre Gomez. Like they've got, and I'm not good with names. I'm
you got that one right. I just think he's. To be French, I just think he's crap.
But yeah, they've got players like that. Sigurdsson again. Like they're all brilliant players. It is a strong team, but like they are.
It's next season. It's keeping the nucleus of the team. Yeah, okay. James Rodriguez might go. Bring someone else.
He's already said that he's not happy. He said he doesn't like England.
The reality is, if you keep the nucleus of that squad, add a bit more talent, you go again next season, see where you are, and it's just continuing doing that forever. Ancelotti wants to stay there. He knows he's not going to go and win titles anytime soon. If he ever did that, it'd be a long-term process. This season, he's done fantastic for them to be where they are. It's just about keeping that squad together if you can. Build on it a little bit. If they do get into Europe, they definitely need to build onto it a little bit. But going again next season, it's not a disappointment for him.
I think, and it pains me to say as a local fan, but in terms of a neutral opinion, I think they've got one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. I do.
Yeah.
Alan, Decore, and James, I think he's one of the best midfielders in the league. The only thing I think Ancelotti does need to do, but I don't think any manager's done it yet. He needs to get the best out of Charlton.
Yeah.
He's not doing. I think he scored 5 goals this season. I'm not talking about stats. I know that, but when he came in, there was all the media stuff saying about him to Charlton. Oh, I went to get 30 goals next season. I think he can be this good and this good, this good. He's not being anywhere near the player he can be. And I agree with Connor. You've got to keep the nucleus of that team. You're like Calvert-Lewin will stay. Yeah. He won't go anywhere. Decore will stay because this was a fantastic move for Decore. I think he'll look at it and go, "What a step up I've made here." Alan again will stay. I think they'll keep all the nucleus. Like I said, they do have to build, and I think there's a couple of players in there he just has to really try and get the best out of. If he can get Joshua King, he can get Joshua King scoring goals as well. I think that when you're talking about Everton's options for goals, if you get Joshua King the way he was playing, you get Stuart Calvert-Lewin and Joshua King, you've got a great option there. Get the best out of Richarlison. they've got a very, very good squad in their hands. It's like Colin said there, they've just got to go and add that quality in. You know, that's all we need to do now. Because after their starting 11, I don't really think that the bench
that's
is.
the thing, like, the recent dip in form, like I said, the last 6, what's 3 of the last 6, but Decore and Tanner are out injured. They miss those players massively, and it's like I said, if you've got that poor European football, not players of that quality, but players of a quality who can step in, who can fit in there and do a job to the standards you want to be doing if you're pushing on for Europe. The next one was a big one for Ancelotti and Everton.
Yeah, I think Ancelotti's the big one. It's just the fact he's got Ancelotti. Look at the players he's pulled in. You know, Decore, all right, he's come from, you know, like I said, he's come from a world-class team, but a lot of teams want the Decore. He's obviously seen something that has
The season before Watford went there, PSG were very close to signing.
Exactly. So the big clubs were after Decore. He's obviously seen something at Everton. Ancelotti's obviously said something to him, shown him his plan or whatever. He's pulled him in. James Rodriguez, he's talking about a lad from Real Madrid on a free transfer. But he's not coming because they're Everton. No. He's coming because he's under Carlo Ancelotti again. It's that pull he's got. Joshua King, 2 seasons ago, we're talking about Joshua King going to Chelsea for 50 million, Arsenal for 50 million. Everton have got him on an absolute steal here. Again, he's not gone because they're Everton. For me, it's that pull that Ancelotti has that has pulled him in. Now they've got Europe. When you're adding Europe to a pull like Ancelotti, they can really start getting a squad together now, Everton. And it's like we said, we're not expecting them to go on and win titles. You know, I don't think they'll challenge for top 4 next season. But if they can continuously now get into Europe, big step. He's done the best job that I've seen an Everton gaffer do in a long while.
That's fair enough. Well, my question is, like, next season, obviously players do go. Would you get the players that they have now and build them up, or would you say buy some more players in, like some high class players?
If they're in Europe, they have to bring players in.
The squad depth as much as anything else. In
Yeah,
Europe, when
you
the workload becomes that much more.
Exactly. You're playing however many more games a season. You have to bring in players. But to be honest, I think out of that squad, James is probably the only one that goes for me. Yeah. Or the only sort of big player that you'd notice is going. I think he's the only one that goes.
Yeah, Josh King's obviously on loan, so it's they'll get him back again.
I'm assuming there'll be an option to buy him.
I think they'll get hold of him. I don't think you've got, like you said before, you know, you look at their bench, I don't think you've got really anyone that you look at and go, do you know what? Someone's out there, they'll come in, they'll be alright, and they'll do a job. I don't think they do. Tom Davies will stay, but I don't think he's very good. I think this has probably been his best season he's had, and I don't really think that's saying very much. Lucas Digne, will he stay? After the season?
I just couldn't see him going anywhere.
I think a lot of clubs will come after him. I do. He's another one you could argue alongside Shaw, been the best left back in the league this season. I think there'll be a lot of teams coming in. I think if PSG started sniffing around him, I think he'd go. French, PSG, Champions League football, I think he'd start.
Probably.
So, you know, it seems like I think if they start sniffing around, could he possibly, that'd be a massive loss for Everton. They've just got, I think they've got a lot of dead wood in the squad. Are Fabian Delph still there? I'll never know. He'll go. Iwobi, I don't really think
he seems to be getting a lot better under
Ancelotti. He's been all right. I think he's a squad player.
I think if you get in Europe, he's an option.
Yeah, I think he's possibly the only one after looking at this season I'd go, is an option. Bernard's okay, he's been all right. They've just got they literally just have to add. But like I said, they've got a lot of dead wood. Mohamed Besic, you know, got to go. They've got a few young lads. It's a case now for Everton of just adding in the summer. But I think it's a case of buying rather than let's just carry on building this squad. They've got to buy.
Well, just before we move on to our next topic, I just want to update you on the Man City and Southampton game, which is now 2-1 to Man City, with James Ward-Prowse scoring for Southampton and Mahrez, is that right?
Yeah,
thank you. Scoring for City, just to make sure, don't want to offend him if he is watching, even though he is playing.
Just
in the in the room, but
When do we get to Southampton?
Southampton is 14.
As well.
No, not the position. When
1 year.
Are they later on?
Yeah, one of the last ones, I think. Yeah, the
Oh,
second
well,
to
I'll
last.
quickly make the point. If James Ward-Prowse doesn't go to the Euros, it's a farce.
Yeah.
He has to.
New update.
Oh, 3-1.
3-1.
He scored it.
Gundogan love to see it for the fantasy.
Scored.
Hey, come on the fantasy points.
Big Ilkay.
And then Ilkay.
Yeah, no, now it's 3-1.
If you're watching Ilkay, please mate.
If you're in the change of rooms.
Also, if he doesn't go to the Euros, it's a farce.
But let's briefly move on to fifth in the Premier League table, which is West Ham, who played against Leeds and securing 2 goals against them.
Did.
They did, yes.
Painful.
Let's start with Jesse Lingard. Obviously, we talked about him last week, as he did score last week, and now he scored again this week. And
Just about.
Yeah.
Well,
Mrs. Penalty got the rebound.
Yeah, and I will say that it was a penalty, and he shouldn't have been taking it in the first place. We said another point. We said he shouldn't have been taking it. He's not a penalty taker for West Ham.
Yeah, we were also point before the reality. David Moyes was very not happy with Declan Rice giving the penalties to Jesse Lingard because he said, Declan Rice, you take penalties and you've not missed any, so why would you give it to Jesse Lingard? Declan Rice said it was about a confidence thing. He was playing well. Like he had belief that Jesse was going to score it. Didn't, then he did. So that's why David Moyes wasn't happy about it. The fact that Jesse Lingard technically did miss the penalty and score.
I think that's something that can be blown out of proportion. I can't agree. If you have said you're the penalty taker, you take the penalties, but
well,
it's if Lingard would have scored the penalty rather than getting a rebound, wouldn't have been mentioned.
I think it
I
would.
disagree. I think your penalty taker is your penalty taker.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think once the gaffer says, look, you're on penalties. Penalties are a bit different to free kicks. You said, we're playing right, and I said to you too, you can have the next free kick. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Penalties are the massive in the game. It's literally
Yeah.
you versus kick. It's not just about the chance for the team to score. The designated penalty taker, they've got to be confident. They've got to have it all. Now, the manager chooses that person, especially when it's Declan Rice and you're the captain. That responsibility is on you.
Yeah.
I don't think they agree with Connor. You can't be shifting that responsibility, whether it's for confidence or you think this and that. If you think that, right, and you think, look, I think if we get a penalty this weekend, Lingard should take it. Go and speak to your gaffer.
Well, I remember Uwe Rosler's first game. It wasn't his first game, it was actually a couple of games after. We played Blackburn at Ewood, and we got a penalty. And Uwe Rosler was like, "Oh, Ivan Ramis, you're taking this," and all the players were like, "Oh, he's a centre back." Like, what? Uwe Rosler was like, "No, you're taking it." And Ivan Ramis was like, "Oh, if you want me to, I'll take it." And he missed. But after the game, Uwe came out and was like, "He's my penalty taker. I take the blame for that." It's the reality is if that's your chosen penalty taker who takes penalties, don't be giving it to someone else.
No.
If the manager's got trust in you, just take the penalty.
Well, obviously, there is a bit of controversy around that, but it did help them secure the win, which,
Only just.
looking at the table, they're 2 points behind Chelsea. Like, at the end of the day, do you not think David Moyes should be happy he got the points?
Yeah, he will be. He'll be very happy because they just keep riding this wave. West Ham, aren't
We do, but look, I watched the game. They got very lucky. Not in the win, they played fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But Leeds had 2 goals disallowed in the first 7 minutes. The second that second goal got disallowed, Leeds fell apart. They fell apart. They'd come out, right? They'd notched 2. West Ham had barely touched the ball, and it had been in the back of the net twice. That could have been game over. With them both disallowed, all right, they were both correctly disallowed. But when you started at 7 minutes, you notched 2, they've both been, disallowed. Leeds put their head down, it shattered the team, as it would any team. But West Ham was super. I say West Ham was superb. Big fella at the back was outstanding. Big Craig Doughty, he was unbelievable. He was fantastic.
For me.
Oh, that shadow that was superb. But I think West Ham got lucky really the fact that those 2 goals disallowed just deflated Leeds, completely deflated them. And after that, it was a free route for West Ham because Leeds were so deflated. They did look like they didn't even want to be there. Then they tried again in like the last 10 minutes and even then they didn't really muster up much. But fair play to West Ham. They played well, but I think if Leeds wouldn't have had those 2 goals disallowed, I'm not saying they were allowed, but if that didn't happen, I think it could have been a very, very different game.
Well, as you mentioned, 9 goals does shatter confidence. Having 2 goals disallowed, it does. And Leeds, they have had a bit of a slip in form recently. As at the start of the season, they were up the top of the table, and now they're in 11th. And out of the last 5 games, we've had 4 losses. What do you think needs to change about Leeds? If anything, what needs to change for them to get higher?
The system's not maintainable for a full season with the squad that they've got. That's the reality of it. I mean, I said it to Dan the other day. I think it was Dan.
Yeah,
I'd hate to play for Leeds because you'd be shattered all the time. You're a right back, but you're technically a striker that's playing CDM that sometimes slots in net. You just play everywhere. And to be honest, with the size of their squad and the quality of their squad, it's not maintainable for a full season. The players are going to burn out, and
I think that's what's happening now.
I think it's just hitting that time of the season where players are like.
I think they are where they are. You say 11th, you say, they've had a slip of form. I think they're only there because they've been very fortunate. And me and Con discussed this again yesterday. That Patrick Bamford scoring.
Yeah.
Look, I'll make the claim, Patrick Bamford doesn't carry on his form next season, Leeds will be in a relegation battle. Because if you take away Patrick Bamford's goals, right, I'm not saying take them away and say, you've not got. I don't think there's anyone in that squad that will get them 15 to 20 goals a season.
Yeah.
I don't see it. I know you talk about Rodrigo, and he's the record signing striker. Now, you can't play him up front when Bamford's doing what he's doing. Play him in midfield. He's not a midfielder. And why? This is what I think about it. Right? I mean, I bet they're glad they gave Bamford the chance because he's put them where they are.
Yeah.
But when you're signing a record player as a striker, why is he not in there straight away? Why is Bamford even playing? But he's doing. But I'll tell you now, if he goes off the boil, Leeds won't be half the team they have. They won't. They ship too many goals at the back. They have to strengthen at the back. They have to because they're shipping far too many goals. They're lucky that Bamford's getting the goals they are. But I agree with Connor. The fatigue on the players must be mental because they're so back and forward. They're a yo-yo team, really, aren't they? They're so back and forward. It's ridiculous. It's not sustainable. But I don't think that they're anywhere near as good as I think what a lot of people have said this season. I think the only reason they are where they are is because of Patrick Bamford. And I don't think he'll carry on next season.
Well, if you were Marcelo, what would you change about this current team? Would you change the formation, or do you reckon there's not much you can change, like Josh?
I think this squad that's been Bielsa's system, it is very intense, and eventually it does burn out. Like Connor said, I think we are seeing now. So for me, it's just squad depth. Bielsa's system. It's played everywhere he's managed. Players have fatigue, they have dropped off, they have become tired, and I wouldn't change it because it has worked. They have picked up results. Yes, a big part of that is Bamford, but in terms of your system, it's a proven system. I won't be changing that. You're probably looking at pre-season. Well, I'm not saying they're not unfit, which is why they're burnt out. It's because of the system, but you will be looking fitness over pre-season more so than tactics. Ideally, if you can get a few players in squad depth, even if they are your loans like your Jack Harrisons, I think you might be there permanently now, but those sort of players on loan from your Cities, Uniteds, if they can, extending them, bringing players of a similar quality in, giving them a chance, and just the squad depth to really make the system effective and sustainable.
Do you not think, though, again, it's another gaffer we look at, his in-game management isn't quite there.
Yeah.
Because
I think it'd be so difficult to, and I agree with what you're saying. I do think they should have that, but I think it'd be so difficult in a game for Bielsa to be like, we're gonna change it up now. We're gonna all stick in position. I think it'd be so hard to keep going from that.
Yeah.
You'd lose your flow. You'd lose. I mean, your players would be just absolutely fucked because they'd be going and they'd be stopping and it'd be so hard to do. But I agree, they need to have some element of that in a game
because you look at it, and as you said, it's not sustainable in terms of fitness and playing, your squad. It's not sustainable in terms of results.
Yeah.
It's not because 1 week look, I know it's split a lot of Leeds fans this season when they're going up. Some people are really happy, right? That they've come in, they're playing this attacking football, they're not just sitting back. Other people have gone, yeah, but we're also shipping a shed load of goals at the back. It's not sustainable for results when they have the players they have. No offence to Leeds, but when they've got the quality they've got, it's not sustainable to be playing the way they are and not continue to ship in goals and expect to score. This is my point about Bamford. I'm not saying that they wouldn't score if they weren't Bamford. What I'm saying is, if they didn't have the goals that Bamford scoring for them, but they were the same as they are at the back, they'd get beat most weeks. And that's why next season, if Bamford doesn't carry on for them and they don't go and sign another striker, which I don't think they will, I can see them being in real trouble. I can.
Just like a quick up with goals conceded. They're third worst defensive team in the league. Sheffield United, rock bottom, abysmal season, conceded one less than them.
That's my point. It's not sustainable.
Well, that's going to be it for the first half of this podcast. We're just going to have a quick little break to refill what, go to the toilet if we need be. And then we're going to...
We're not really going on waters anymore.
Then go to the toilet.
Yeah, you can refill one, and then you can go. And then we'll come back and have a little game show type.
Woo! My favourite part of the
My favourite part.
My favourite part is the name that's Jake show.
Yeah.
Name that Jake.
While we,
Solve it, Jake.
Graham.
while we go, just if you want to comment, feel free.
Give us a few questions to come
Yeah,
back to
any
after the
opinions or
show.
anything like that, feel free.
See you in a minute.
I'm not creating fodder, mate.
We are back. It is our halftime game show with Jake.
Just to address the elephant in the room, yes, I have changed. Just saying.
He's got his sponsor.
No, he's still not creating.
No, I'm still
Data
not
protection
very-
reasons, I've changed.
It's changed. So basically, this week, what we're going to do, Jake, is play Name the Legend that the club played for. So we've got 20 legends. Premier League legend is worth 1 point. A world legend or out of England legend is worth 2 points. Jake, are you feeling confident?
Oh, I'm nervous. I'm nervous after last week's performance.
Yeah, last week, you guys, if you didn't see it,
Players are your man.
yeah. Last week, if you didn't see it, we played Name the Club from the badge. Jake scored, I think, maybe 3 out of about 15. And it wasn't a great performance. So let's see how he does with this week. So kicking it off, this for the viewers is the first legend. This big man here, nice easy one to start. Jake. I tell you what, we'll double the points. I want, if you can name the player, we'll give you a point, right? But then it's also a point for the club.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, makes
Josh
sense.
Conner in the
Is that
keeper.
2 for each of the abroad ones? as well?
So it'll be 2 for each of the abroad ones as well. Okay, Josh. So name the player, name the legend of the club legend.
Oh, that's really bad. Oh,
This is an easy one to kickstart, so you know, if you don't get this, you should be quite worried for the rest.
yeah,
Please
no.
get this right.
Oh,
Name the player in the club. You can say, I don't know the player, but I know who's a legend of this club, which would be really weird. You can say, I know the player, but I couldn't tell you the club. If you don't know either, hit your buzzer, I'll move on, but you concede your points.
oh. Question, am I allowed to,
easy, keep it up.
Are you like what?
am I allowed to let any hints like first
No.
letter name or anything? Or?
No.
Okay. How long
Not on this one.
No, this one then.
No, I just meant all during the game or.
Maybe it's a difficult one and we go, oh, actually, I wasn't expecting to get that. Because there are a couple that I'm not expecting you to get. This isn't one of them.
I don't know the player, but I was stabbed at the club.
The club. Weird, but we'll go with it. Name the club.
Crystal Palace.
No, Jake. So this is Vincent Kompany. He's a club legend of Manchester City.
Oh,
Crystal Palace,
So
I even Scott Dan at the back. Oh.
I know the name, I just didn't know the face.
He also didn't play for Palace.
It was more of a head you should know.
Yeah. So it's a 0 point start. Legend number 2 for the viewers. This is who we've got. Beautiful man. I will give you a clue on this. This man said, famous quote, I have cheated on all my girlfriends, but I will never cheat on my football club. Which club was he talking about? Because he's only played for one. He's a hero in the city. Hero.
Oh,
2 points each on this. Out of England.
out of England.
Out of England.
Oh, this is difficult.
One club man.
Oh, I see this. Gosh, I'm not going with football faces. This is. Oh, okay. I don't know the name, but
I think that's the one.
the club I'll go with is.
This could be
This could be
anywhere in
painful.
Europe.
This could be worse than the City one. This could be painful.
I'll go Dortmund.
Wrong country.
Oh, what country?
Italy.
Oh, AC Milan.
Oh, right, you still got it wrong. You can-
Oh,
That is Francesco Totti. And he's only played for one club, and that club will be AS Roma.
okay.
Legend. This one, you didn't get Vincent Kompany, and you didn't get. You won't get this one, but for the viewers, this is arguably. Me and Josh had a discussion the other day. We had a world ever 5-a-side. This man got put into it. Arguably the best centre back ever to play football. Can you name the man? Can you name the club?
Looks familiar. He looks really familiar.
Weren't you stuck?
Oh,
2 points again. Not England, not the Premier League. 2 points.
Same country as Totti.
Yeah.
okay.
Dos Pontes, name the man, name the club.
I can't do names. I'm really
It's a
struggling
bad
with
start for
names.
Jake.
Well, I'll go with Inter Milan.
Ooh! Ooh! That will
Right.
don't say it to him, because that is Paolo Maldini. And this man's a club legend at AC Milan.
Ron Milan.
Put it this way, his son now plays for AC Milan, and his dad Also is a club legend at AC Milan. So saying Inter Milan, you will have
I can only
offended.
apologise.
So far, Jake, we're zero from 10 points. You're 0. Next club legend. There's your man. To give Jake a closer look. You're looking for 1 point for each on this one. This is a Premier League legend. Club legend Marlon King.
See, I can see colours in the background, which might be a hint, but I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's misdirect or not.
Just for using that on a closer look, the colours in the background are blue. Your clue for this, don't look at the colours in the background.
Okay, so it's not a blue team.
No, definitely not.
See, quickly look. Just got to get rid of all the Premier League blue teams. Okay. So I can do that.
You could be legend of the
No,
No,
I
it isn't.
just said he's got 1 point, Premier League.
Again, I cannot name the man. I'm really struggling with the names.
I'm taking a Puma Indonesia rating while he thinks.
I'm taking the lead table.
Well,
Just picking it.
I will go with.
For the viewers again, this is
Okay. I will go with Leeds United.
No, that man is Patrick Vieira. I was told you his name. Could you tell me a club?
I'll go with. I'll go with United.
Patrick,
You just don't offend everyone.
yeah, you just defend everything. So
It
Patrick
went up,
Vieira,
chose violence.
club legend of Arsenal.
Oh, wrong team.
Right, this is possibly the easiest on there. Well, actually, in terms of the footballers, not for you, I expected. This is who he's trying to name. Right. Jake, please, for your first points of the game, who is it? We'd like the player and we'd like the club he was a legend for.
Oh,
You've got to. You have to get it.
it's really annoying.
I
I do know the face.
You probably should do.
Can't put the name to him. I'm really.
This is painful.
It really is. I'm in pain.
Yes.
Are you going to try and give us a name?
Let me have a close look.
You look as close as you want, Jake.
Have a big one.
You could look at him from a mile away and know who it is. Actually, you could possibly think it might be like Vin Diesel or something.
No, Vin Diesel couldn't get out of beard. Oh.
Well, you
I'm
know
not
it's
lying,
not Vin
it's
Diesel.
not the beard that will give him away.
Yeah,
It's,
no,
it's him.
yeah.
Him. I'm going to have to push you for an answer, Jake.
I can't think of a name,
Okay,
sadly.
that's another point gone. 1 point for the team. Please, Jake.
Oh.
Please. Please, just don't offend this man. Please.
Oh, I'm so stressed with getting the previous ones wrong. I'm really.
No. This one, compared to the others, you should not be stressed. This is one of the easier ones.
Oh,
Yeah, please, Jake. Where's this man a legend at?
I'm afraid.
Just like feel his energy.
That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to
Imagine it.
sense it.
See him in a shirt. Not that one, that's Montreal Impact, but
Yeah.
see him in a shirt.
I'm envisioning red.
Oh.
I'm gonna go with. Right. Okay. All right.
Come on, son. He's feeling this one.
Isn't it?
He's got vibe.
He's feeling it.
Wait. I'm gonna go with Liverpool.
Oh
Oh, which what?
Arsenal!
Oh, dang!
It's Thierry Henry!
So it is.
I'm not gonna lie. I'd love the answer to be Liverpool.
Oh, it's terrible for me.
It's painful.
The wrong red team popped up first. The wrong red team.
Right.
Let's just move on.
Oh dear.
Oh,
If you didn't get Thierry Henry, you're not getting Nick, I'll tell you that.
that's terrible. Actually.
To give you some points, if you somehow miraculously give this, I will give you 5 points for player and club.
Okay.
It's Premier League, but this is difficult. Here's your man. That is who we're naming. Oh, Declan Rice playing in the 40s game. Again, one club man.
It's a one club man in the Prem.
Thanks, had enough. He's just hiding now. He,
Yeah,
after hearing Thierry Henry play for Liverpool. Come on.
He's a one club man.
Yeah.
In the Premier League.
Yeah.
Oh.
Sort of.
You're just repeating things that people
So you give me a couple of clues here.
If I repeat
Just, literally, look at me now and just take a stab in the dark, just go bam.
With his name.
Not his name, his club or whatever.
I feel like because you're so bad at this, we need one of those things beforehand we played saying no actors were used in this. Jake genuinely believes all his answers, by the way.
Right, I'll look at Banksy and I'll turn back to you now.
Right, you look at Banksy, back to me, bang, this super.
I'm gonna
channel that energy.
Right.
and then I'll let Grego reveal the answer.
You don't know his name, but there's 5 points in it, and currently you're on 0.
You're gonna look at me, I'm gonna challenge to you, and if you get it wrong, Grego's gonna reveal it to you.
Go look at me, stab that answer at me. Hit me with the answer.
Brian.
I'm not. I thought he said Brian. I was like,
If you'd have said Brian, this man's name then would have been Brian Adams, but that is actually Tony Adams, and he played for Arsenal.
What's with all the
Arsenal club quiz.
It is.
Right.
So I'm thinking it,
Doing the one that you should get.
Yeah, we'll get you some points on the board here.
The one you should get.
Okay.
Here's your man.
Gotta get it. Got to get
Jake.
it.
Get it.
Don't say this to me. Cause
Here's your man.
Oh, I know this. It's came down at least Luke.
Jake scored some points. Right, Jake. We'll go back to the initial one. So you're on 2 of that 50 at the minute.
I'm so proud of myself.
Here's your man.
Should get this. You actually should take. You know you will.
There's your man.
It's a unique hairstyle. I'll give him that. I've got to say.
Not to leave off somewhere.
Oh. Is he Prem or World?
World.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'll give you a clue. He captained his club for a very long time. He won lots of trophies, and arguably, he also won some of his country and captained his country. Arguably the best captain ever.
I'm so stressed now that you said this. Okay. Okay, I'm going to drop points to the name because I'm not good with names.
Okay.
What club? He's won a lot for the club and for his country. Probably one of the best captains in the world.
Yeah, not currently.
Yeah,
but was.
Yeah.
Oh,
Not dead, he's still alive.
yeah, he's still kicking about that, but
Can I be cheeky and ask when he stopped playing?
No.
got like a few years ago.
I'll take a couple for a year ago.
But like, he was old then. He wasn't like what he was.
Okay.
He played in our era, put it that way.
Okay. I will go with.
If you say one club here, you could seriously offend everyone in that place. And this man, who did he play for?
Bayern Munich.
Well done for not going Madrid.
Yeah. Well done for not saying Madrid. You've not offended him that much.
Barcelona.
It was Barcelona.
I was thinking Spain. I was like, nah.
That's Carlos Puyol. Right.
Oh, it's so nice. I was going to go.
We'll have 2 more. This is an interesting one. Here's your man. Not quite at the same career as the others, but arguably, arguably more a legend of the club. He's a legend than any of the other players. This man's nickname is Mister, and then the club. Yeah, big news.
The 1 year contract saying he's not renewing after that.
Yeah, big news. Premier League.
I want to go. Name's gone. Like I'm not getting that point, but I want to go with Chelsea. I feel like Mr. Chelsea.
Mr. Chelsea.
Yeah.
That, my friend, is Mark Noble, and he is Mr. West Ham.
Oh, really.
You've offended him, yeah.
Yeah.
You're
really
offending him, yeah. Right.
Can't find out with faces now.
Last one.
Oh, please give me some.
Right. Here is your man.
Oh, so good.
This, I think we're going to easy one for you. There's your man.
I'm assuming World.
No.
I'm
No.
assuming Prem.
Yeah.
Good assumption.
Assume well there, Jay.
I'm going to go with.
You've got to give me a name, surely.
Really? I recognise the face. That's the problem. I'm
Got
recognising
a
the
clue
face.
in.
Yeah, go
He's
on.
now an actor.
Kung Fu Kicked a fan.
Yeah, he did. Did do that.
Kung Fu Kick the Farm.
Yeah.
Oh,
Also,
that's good.
he also celebrated like this.
Oh.
Always wore his car up.
He did. He thought he was. He,
Oh,
I say he thought he was cool. He was pretty
He was.
cool.
See, I'm not. I can picture him playing ball.
When you see pictures,
Yeah, he can.
Yeah, I can picture him.
glad you can picture him.
I
He's
can
here.
picture him like on the pitch, but I can't place a name.
We're gonna do what we did for the other one. But you're gonna look at Ravo.
Alright, hopefully my
Yeah.
Ravo
Yeah.
connections are better.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
Banksy
no
getting
interruption.
Brighton.
I'm not lip syncing it.
No,
Because
No, no, you can't put an answer.
That's a force. You just can't.
Last one. Turn and tell.
Oh, name. He didn't give me
don't
the
try
name.
it, don't try it.
He didn't give me a name.
Just
He didn't give me a name. But club, he was. He. Oh, okay.
It's for. Go on, Jake.
It's the. Oh, sorry, I got on bad itch. It was distracted.
Come on, you've got it. You've got it.
Coming. It's coming. It's really coming. That's how he laughed at me. Okay. It's forming. It's forming. I'll go with Manchester United.
To finish the game, Jake Clark, Eric Cantona. Well, Jake. Yet another abysmal performance. A shocking innuendo. I think it might be time to kick off the second half.
Just before we do, we've got an update on the Manchester game.
5-1.
5-2.
What a game.
With Kevin De Bruyne scoring, Mahrez scoring again, and Che Adams scoring.
Well in, Jake.
Which,
Philly Foods with 2 assists.
Well in, folks, lad.
Oh,
Right.
I can fall in that.
Right. Anyway, after
Does it stop coming down?
it's not.
It's game.
Yeah, it came. It has fully came. Oh, but
The fact that someone sat with us through that as well.
Yeah,
Just
people,
thank
yeah.
you to
Thank you.
everyone.
Yeah,
Thank you to whoever else is here.
But yeah, welcome back to the second half. Hopefully it'll go better than the game. But let's start off with Liverpool versus Fulham, which was not the best game, with Fulham securing 1 goal to beat Liverpool. And I just want to start off with talk about Klopp making 7 changes to the starting 11, which, Dan, what do you think about them changes that he made?
I'm not saying anything.
Refusing to talk about it.
No, the man can't win. He cannot win. But the change he made, right, showing Liverpool's weakness in our squad depth. But the man can't win. Last week, right, he's getting criticism for not changing things. He's getting criticism for not changing how we're playing. He's getting criticism for this isn't working, this isn't working. Like, he changes things. And people go, why has he changed this much? But, yeah, my worry was with this game is he's looked at our game tonight. I think he's looked at our game tonight and gone, I'll rest players, right? That for me was wrong. I think we need points in the Prem. We're in a fairly comfortable position against Leipzig. That
this game now is the game he should have been focusing. I'm glad he changed things, but I think his changes show Liverpool's weakness in their squad depth more than anything.
Well, let's focus on some of the changes. He changed a considerable change to the back line with Nico Williams replacing Alexander-Arnold Trent. And
Alexander-Arnold Trent?
wait, what?
We're not in like the Victorian ages here. Alexander-Arnold, Trent.
Anyway, yeah, he replaced Trent. I hoped for a better second half, he didn't come. But yeah, no, he replaced Trent and Reece Williams. He replaced Kabak, which them two, lack for better words, yeah. Josh, what do you think about the performance?
Well, obviously a shock result. You have to give credit to Scott Park. He's come to Anfield, he's took the game to him. We've got the goal. He's managed the game well in the end when he's needed to, which is what we mentioned earlier. When you're down in those positions, to stay up. So I think you can't take anything away from you. You have to give full credit to Scott Parker on that one.
Yeah, to be fair, I agree. As a Liverpool fan, it wasn't a shock result to me. I've been saying all week we're going to beat off Fulham. I knew we would. We're terrible at home. We're terrible, full stop. Fulham needed points and they're playing very well. Josh smashed it. Absolutely, I could not agree with you more. Scott Parker's game management in that game was superb. Absolutely incredible. I think the last 5-10 minutes, they had 6 defenders on. You know, do you know what? Fulham did what they needed to do. They pressed us at the start. They got the goal. The goal had been coming. They got the goal. Then they sat back. They let us have the ball. We once again were terrible. The only lad who played well in that game for me was Naby Keita. The rest of them was shocking. But Scott Parker's game management was outstanding. It was fantastic. He brought his strikers up when he needed to bring them off. He was putting them in more defensive. He brought Loftus-Cheek on to sit behind, but offer a bit more defensive in the midfield. He was bringing more defenders on towards the end. His game management for the game was superb, and they held on to a very good win. It's fantastic 3 points for them.
Well,
I think part of them might have expected it, if I'm honest.
Yeah, well, one of my problems was Nico Williams was never really in a position balls were always being played to Madja, who took that space on the left side to get in and being able to cross in. Nico Williams was just never there when he needed to be.
Yeah, I agree with you. Me and Connor, I spoke about Nico Williams. Me and Connor had a chat about him as well while we were watching the game. He was constantly out of position. He was. Look, I know he's young, but he was constantly out of position. Right? I could go on and talk about Liverpool all day, but I won't. He was constantly out of position. You're right. My other problem with it though was Phillips and Williams. Right? They were both always marking one man together. So when you say Ademola Lookman had a field day down that side, and Madja was able to get through because Williams and Phillips had both moved across to mark one man together. That shouldn't have been the case. Look, if Williams goes, right, somebody else has to drop into that slot. They have to. They weren't doing that at the back. Phillips and Williams were both teaming up to mark one man, and Nico Williams, at the meantime, was out of position. It left acres of space down the left. Acres. The other problem with Liverpool at the minute is crossing balls. That's what we're doing. We're crossing balls. Nico Williams could cross the ball. They were all terrible. But the problems at Liverpool, there's loads at the minute. Loads. And I'm sick of people talking about the injuries. I am, because that's not what's gone wrong. It's not. I'm not saying it's not, made a difference, it has, but it's not what's going wrong. What's going wrong is, last season, we were nicking the ball off teams, right, who were out of shape, and we were crossing the ball into a box where their defenders were out of shape, right? So most of them balls going in, they weren't being defended, they weren't being marked, so they were falling to Salah and Mane and Firmino, they were falling to them. This season, teams have found that out. They're holding the shape. So now what we're trying to do is cross a ball in. Fulham at the weekend had 3 centre-backs on all over 6 foot. And we're trying to cross a ball in to defenders who are in shape, who are in their position, and about 5 or 6 inches taller than our forwards. Banksy played as a centre back. And imagine you've played in teams, especially where you control your back line. Well, it's a lot easier for you if a team's got small strikers and they're trying to cross, while you and your back line are in position. You're having a field day, aren't you?
It's not even, it doesn't even challenge you. I'd be more than happy for a team to do that. Yeah, a tiny striker that's whipping in the box. Get it away. But I think another thing for Liverpool, the thing that I noticed probably from playing centre back is there was no one that led or controlled the line, whether it be from set pieces that Fulham had. Nat Phillips didn't control his line. You can't expect Reece Williams to. He's a young lad. Robo can't control a line from left back. Nico Williams is not going to. If you've not got someone that controls your back line, the reality is you're probably going to lose because your back line needs to be probably the most solid set in any part of your team. There's got to be a leader, and unfortunately, I think he probably expected Nat Phillips to probably do it, but he didn't do it well enough, and it's not his fault because he's only just come into the team this season. But there was no control in the back line, and I think that was a massive part of sort of Liverpool's downfall in that one.
I think I did say at one point, we had the chat at one point where I said, look, there's not a single leader on that pitch here, and we spoke about it. It's true. And again, the only time real injuries is for like that. Van Dijk would lead his back line.
Yeah.
He does it. Henderson, when he's played, Nick does it.
Yeah.
Fabinho does it. But who do you blame there? Do you blame Nat Phillips or Reece Williams? And go, look, should be in your personality, right? You're coming on now. You're playing for Liverpool. Take your lead, be in charge. Or do you think they look at it and go, we all feel a bit new here, like we're all a bit young, like we don't really feel like we should be leading. Is it on Klopp to go, look, Nat, right? You've got to lead today. Who do you blame on it?
If Klopp said to Nat Phillips, "You're the man today. You set up your line. You control where the back line stands," and Nat Phillips has gone, "Yeah, so I can do that. I trust myself. I believe in myself." Then it goes on Nat Phillips because the reality is, if I was in a game like that and I'm a young player and I didn't feel like I could control my back line, I'd be saying to the gaffer, "Look, I need some experience next week. Don't be putting this on me." Reece Williams is always at a position. So is Nico Williams, and it's hard for when your right back's all the way up there. You've got to come across to then control what the other people are doing behind you because you've had to come across. It's impossible for an experienced player. Never mind someone like Nat Phillips. But if Nat Phillips has said to Klopp, "I'll lead your line out," then it's on him. But to an extent, has to take a little bit of blame because he's made that decision that Nat Phillips, that's the man.
Yeah.
Clearly he wasn't.
Yeah, and it showed. There was a lot of times, like I said about Lookman having a field day down that side. That simply was because Williams had moved forward, Nico Williams had moved forward, and then whenever Lookman got behind, he was the first player to be calling for offside. What he hadn't noticed, he'd stepped well above where his back line was. But yes, you look at it and go, well, Nico Williams should be looking. But like Connor said, you've got to be looking at the centre back, especially Phillips, because he's probably the more experienced out of the lot. Of saying, Nico, back, this is our line, this is where we hold, right? It didn't work, and as we saw, Lookman got through all day. He had a field day. I thought Lookman was fantastic, but funny thing, if Josh Harvey, anyone could have played there and had an absolute field day.
Yeah.
It was shocking. But it comes down to no leadership, terrible strategy of play. It's just all going wrong for Liverpool at the minute. And I don't see things changing. I don't.
Well, obviously they had a few substitutions in though. One being Fabinho, who has, led the back line. But in this game he got subbed on into a midfield position, which he's not played for a while.
I think he tried to some extent, slot into like a back three, so you can just go at Fulham. But I'd say Fabinho played a little bit more further forward. Then I don't really think he slotted into a back line because it's still Reece Williams and Nat Phillips.
Yeah. He come on the midfield, but the substitution didn't make sense to me.
No.
You're 1-0 down. Why are you bringing on defensive mid? That was the question. I was looking at the bench. Oxlade-Chamberlain, right? Didn't come on. I don't think.
No, he did not.
Didn't come on. He's the one player I've been looking at there going, do you know what? You're one player right now in our squad who is not afraid to run with that ball, create something. Even if he's shooting from distance, right? He creates something. He should have come on. I've been saying for ages about Trent coming on for Nico. That finally happened. But you look at it, right? Oxlade-Chamberlain didn't come on. Curtis Jones has arguably been our best centre mid this season, and he didn't come on. Two creative players were 1-0 down, and you're bringing on a defensive mid. I know we've spoken about it a lot in this podcast, but again, it's your game management. He's not. That is terrible. Scott Parker nailed it. Fantastic 3 points for Fulham. I can see them staying up now. Terrible game management from Klopp. It was a disaster. His choices were poor. His strategy was poor. It didn't work, and it carries on. It'll continue not to work. And this could end up being an absolute. I only think it is, but it could really end up being a disastrous season.
I've read something saying I think Liverpool have 10 games left. I think it is. They need 19 points from those 10 games to prevent themselves having the worst ever title defence after Blackburn Rovers.
Won't get it. We won't get them.
I just think they will.
We won't get them. I'll tell you that, we won't get them. But you look at the only team we've beaten recently is Sheffield United.
Yeah.
And that's the cup game. We said in the podcast.
But
It's a cup game next year.
Yeah.
Fed down, they're defeated.
I mean, it's all been wrong, and it's not going to pick up anytime soon.
Well, like Dan said, Josh, Fulham are close to being out of that relegation zone. Do you reckon they'll have that push, after beating Liverpool, to break, relegation, come out of it and put Brighton in relegation?
I know Liverpool aren't in the best form, everyone knows that, but still going to Anfield and getting that 3 points when you're in relegation, it's a confidence boost for them. I don't care what form Liverpool are in. And I said in the last podcast, if Fulham do get out of it, it's probably Brighton who I can see getting dragged in. Newcastle are still in that talk, but as I said earlier, they've got the games in hand. It's in their own hands, and that's the main thing I'd be worried about with Fulham. Scott Parker, I don't know when he's sat them down and gone, we're going to do this differently. This is what's been happening. But recently they've looked a new side. If they were played like they have recently all season, you're probably talking about them with your Leeds or Wolves as a comfortable mid-table side. I'd like to see Fulham get out of it. I'm a big fan of Scott Parker. The honesty in the media, the way he's got on playing, I do like him. It would be a shame to see Brighton or Newcastle dragged into it, but I do think Fulham will stay up. It'll be unfortunate for whichever Brighton Newcastle gets dragged into it, but how Scott Parker's got on playing, the timing of it, perfect. This is when you need to pick up your points, and that's what he is doing.
Well, if Fulham do stay up, Colin, do you think they are Premier League quality, or do you think they're just lucky to be in the Prem?
I like you all day because I've said it all season. Fulham definitely are Premier League quality, and I think man for man have a much better squad than a couple of teams above them. I think a lot of their team get into a lot of the teams above them.
If you were to do combined 11s between the likes of Fulham with Brighton, Newcastle and Burnley.
You talk about Loftus-Cheek is on loan, Lemina's on loan. I don't think Loftus-Cheek will stay past the season. Lemina, there's probably a clause to keep him on. Bobby Reed's fantastic. That Joachim Anderson at the back is unreal, and they've got Areola, fantastic. Have they got a Premier League quality squad now? Yes, definitely, and I do think they'll stay up as well. I think Brighton will probably drop in. They're 100% Premier League quality. Next season, it's about recruitment again, but the owner seems to want to spend money. He always does. Yeah, they definitely are Premier League quality, 100%.
Well, moving on to another top of the table team beating one of the lower teams, Tottenham Hotspurs beating Crystal Palace 4-1. With Gareth Bale scoring twice again. That is the second week in a row that he's scored twice in a game. So, like we said last week, we were talking about, is it the return of Bale? Does this not show it is the return?
I think it's still got to give him time, but you know what? The lad's taking his chance. That's what he's doing. We talked last week. The only person who can bring Bale back to what he was is Gareth Bale. But you can't jump on the bandwagon yet and say he's back. But he's taking his chance, and that's it. We said it. It's what he has to do. He's got to take his chance to do it. He seems to be finding the right form, especially the fact that I know Son and Kane played in that game as well. They didn't get them free, all working as a front three, and Bale keeps taking his chances. I think Spurs have got a very good front three there. He's just going to carry on.
Well, Spurs, after this game, have now started a winning streak of, let me just check, 3, which is quite impressive, winning 3 games in a row. Do you reckon they'll be able to keep on that winning streak and, potentially sneak into top 5, 4?
Yeah, I think the big test comes whenever they play a team above them again. Because, I mean, the reality is the run that they're on, the beating teams that they probably should be beating. Yeah, they're beating them now convincingly, which they weren't doing before. I think the big test for Tottenham is when they go and play. I mean, are you looking
Yeah,
at
they've
the
got Arsenal's their next league game. They've got
That's a
a
big one.
Europa game tomorrow. But Arsenal's a big one
Arsenal's a
weekend.
massive one.
And then they've got Villa. Could be a test, but quality should prevail in that one. Then we've got Newcastle. United's a big one on 10th. Everton, thereabouts. City. Sheffield United's easy. Leeds, Wolves, Villa again. Leicester. So what I would say about Tottenham,
2 or 3 big games.
looking about form is they've still got to play teams around them. And like Connor said, that's what's going to determine if they will sneak into it.
Yeah, fair enough. Points made.
Thanks, Jim.
You're welcome.
Points
You're
were made.
welcome. Points were made.
Make them points.
Well, let's look at another top team that have had not the best performance of lately. Aston Villa, who played Wolverhampton for nothing, for a point. They've got a point with no one scoring, which is missing. Are they missing their chance to get in that top 4 or the Europa League?
I think for them it's the same as Everton. They were never. Did Dean Smith sit there at the start of the season and go, oh, we'll get in Europe this season? Probably not. I don't think it's a missed chance because Wolves are a good side. Yeah, they're missing the striker.
It's a derby, it's a big occasion.
Exactly. It's still a big game and it's still a good side. Is it a missed chance? No, because I don't think they were ever going to sneak in there. I don't think they will. I don't think they're expecting to. So, not really. I don't think it is, to be honest. I don't think it's a missed chance for me.
I agree. To be honest, I think from where Villa have come from in terms of the last couple of seasons.
We're talking about a team last season that stayed up on the last day.
And I'll say this now. They shouldn't be in this Premier League.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be in it. VAR works, right? All this nonsense. They will not be in the Premier League. But
It was actually the goal line
the goal line technology, yeah, all nonsense, right? They shouldn't be in the league, but they are. From where they're finishing the season, even if they get top half, and you're talking, look, I'll be honest, right? Those Villa lads, they know they shouldn't be in the Premier League. Like, they know that decision last season kept them up. They'll be looking at it going, geez, from pretty much shouldn't be being in the league to a top half finish, remarkable, superb. Dean Smith's got to be given a lot of credit. They've got a few players in there that got to be given a lot of credit. Ollie Watkins has been fantastic. Jack Grealish just superb as always. I love Jack. I love Jack Grealish. Superb as always. Nice to keep hold of him. They've got quite a few players. Tyler Mings, Martinez. I've said it all season. Martinez for me has been the keeper of the season. They'll be looking at that, even a top half finish, and they'll see that success.
They're already. Well, I've just been looking at. They're already 5 points better off now than what they finished last season, and there's still however many games to go. They're going to get points in that running. I think that's a chance. That just shows growth, and I think that's all Villa wanted this season was to consolidate.
Yeah.
And like you just said, if they finish in the top half, that's a class season for them.
Tell you what a way to people like myself who sit here and say they shouldn't be in the Premier League. What a way to come back and go, look, do you know what? We probably know we shouldn't be here, but we are, and we've taken our chance to prove it. So, fair play to them.
Well, let's talk about the missing man, Jack Grealish. Could he, with his return, boost them up a few places in the table because they're now 9th? Could he provide something to get them to 7th, 6th?
He could do anything, Jack.
Yeah.
That man can whistle in 7 different languages. That's how good he is. He's incredible.
His return is a massive boost.
Yeah.
Whether
Whether
you're
you Premier League
City-
side will miss
Yeah.
Jack Grealish.
Whether you're City, whether you're Sheffield United, missing Jack Grealish is huge. No, he's not going to get Villa into the top 5, I don't think so. But
Yeah,
it's
we'll put
a
points on
massive,
two.
yeah,
Possibly.
definitely.
2 games in Liverpool,
He'll
only
definitely-
3 points.
I think he'll put them up a couple of places, but
Did you have to tell me that we can drop any round?
Yeah. Oh,
No, yeah. I think it's sort of similar to what we were saying before about the Maddison situation at Leicester.
Yeah.
You know, it's a massive miss for Villa, but Jack Grealish isn't going to boost them all the way up. You only have scored, like, is your worst player. I debate that, because we've had Alberto Moreno. Like, but you are. Jack Grealish makes a massive, massive difference. But I agree with the lads. He's not going to fire them into this, in team of invincibility. But he is a massive miss.
well, let's move on to a game which worked out really good for Burnley as they played Arsenal, getting a 1-1 finish, securing 1 point. And what do you think that means to Burnley? Winning against, well, not winning, drawing against Arsenal, one of the bigger teams in the Prem.
it probably just about confirms this. I still think that.
I said last week I'm not putting Burnley into a relegation fight because of how they play. They can grind out results, which is what we were saying earlier, but you need to when you're down there. I want to argue Arsenal is one of the bigger clubs this season. Yes, Arteta's gone playing well, but they're not the Arsenal we're talking about a few seasons ago.
Yeah, no. It was a fair point.
And the goal, how it happened, we've all had a laugh about it, but if that's the goal of this game, you're pointed, do you deserve a point? I didn't watch the game, I don't know the balance of it, but just seeing that,
definitely the
but just seeing that goal and that game, your point, do you deserve that point? Probably not. I've not seen the game, could be wrong with that point, but
It's not a big point.
yeah,
I agree. They wouldn't care how that goal went in.
that's true.
You look at it and he didn't even celebrate, you couldn't believe what had happened. But when you're a team like Burnley, right, or you're a lower team, like, sometimes you need that look.
Yeah,
just that little stroke there, like that. That makes you a point at Arsenal. When you get back in that dressing room, you're not complaining. Like, yes, they spoke about, whether they played well or not. But look, at the end of the day, when you get on that team bus, like, you've just got to point against Arsenal. And with where they are, like I said, it looks really like that will, should secure them.
Yeah.
They won't care how that went in. They won't care how it happened. They got a point with Arsenal. And at the end, in terms of your points in your table, that's what matters to them.
Well, moving on to the lower side of the table with Sheffield United playing Southampton, with Southampton winning 2-0.
Depends on periods, most 12, least is 10.
My first question for you is, and obviously Che Adams scored in that game, which is for him must be big, given that he's not really, he's not been scoring much. But question is, Sheffield being at the very bottom, are they?
Don't ask that question. Don't even ask it. Don't.
Oh no.
Go on, ask it.
Go on, ask it. We'll go through.
We'll all give you one-word answers.
I'm expecting a very good one-word answer. I want it in chorus. All as one. Can Sheffield get out of the relegation?
No.
Not a chance. Not a chance.
If
they did it,
have you seen? Have you not?
I think I'd shave my eyebrows off, the rest of my hair off, my beard off. I'd go like complete.
What was it?
There's not a chance.
If
Sheffield United stay up this season, I will do our first podcast of next season, just like Lenny did. I'll do it in some Liverpool boxes, nothing more, just sat here in the Liverpool boxes. All right, okay. If Sheffield United get out of relegation, you have my word.
Yeah.
I will do the
I'll
whole.
get a Vale shirt and do the same
whole
thing.
podcast.
I will not be sitting in a blue shirt.
You can say Sheffield United undies.
No, if Sheffield United stay up, I'll do the whole of the first next season's podcast in an Everton shirt.
Well, let me ask you this then. When they do go down, will they able to come back up next season? Or
No.
It's difficult to bounce back.
They've gone up. The reality is, and I said this when they went up, they were fantastic to watch. But I know a lot of Wigan fans and stuff will say like, they've gone up with a squad that's not much better than ours. Like they've not got.
Yeah.
McGoldrick was good, Billy Sharp was good in the Championship, but they just had sort of like an average squad. It's all about recruitment for them, and whether Chris Wilder's a stay, which I think he will. But Chris Wilder actually, and this is the first time I've ever said you've been too honest. Said the other day, I can't wait to get some of these players out of the club. And he was talking about players that were actually playing for him.
Yeah.
I think that's wrong. I think that's really wrong. But no, I don't think they'll come back up.
I think it is wrong, but
Whilst there's still
oh,
stuff in it.
100% it's wrong. But you look at there's gaffers who's done it in Pat Perry. That means an out to that situation.
Yeah.
Saying no, I can't play.
He's not fit to play.
Not fit to play football, can't do it. You look at Villas Boas at Spurs. He even said, "Look, I don't want some of these players." When Chelsea got Ross Barkley, turned around and said, "What do you expect me to do when my options on the bench is Ross Barkley?" I don't know Sheffield's. I know a transfer policy and what Chris Wilder goes to look for. I don't know how much power he really has over the signings. Some of the players he's on about, he might not have even wanted. So I agree with you. You can't be coming out saying that. It is bad. But I think we've said it in recent weeks. The man's had enough. He just wants the season to end now. And if there are players in that squad that he didn't even want in the first place, he probably is thinking, can't wait to get these out. But Banks is right. You can't really be coming out and saying that. I'd say it shatters confidence, but they haven't really got any anyway.
They haven't got any to shatter.
No, so you know.
I do agree with what Connor said. When they came up, it felt like it was only a matter of time. They came up with Championship players playing well rather than Premier League players doing what they should in the Championship. And that makes the step up a bit easier when you've got that quality players. First season or second season we had in Prem, superb. They had the system, what people didn't quite know, it was working for them. They had a really good season, finished well, but it looks unfortunate like they're a bit of a one-trick pony, and now teams have worked that out, know how to play against it. I mean, this season's gone badly wrong, but I do think people working now the system and how they play, how Chris Wilder plays.
That's what it was. It was people.
They've worked it out. I'd argue similar to Liverpool in a way. Obviously, it hasn't gone as bad as Sheffield United, and they've probably got a few more options with quality of players, but once they worked out that system and knew how to play against it, you look where they are now compared to the dominance we've had the last 2 years.
Well, moving on to probably one of the biggest games of the game week, West Brom versus Newcastle, getting a 0-0, finish. Like, for Newcastle, you can't really be losing them 3 points.
No, you can't. Especially the position you're in.
Yeah.
You have to beat West Brom. The reality is West Brom are playing for pride now.
Yeah.
I think it's too far. It's too far.
Yeah, that's West Brom.
But you say if West Brom win that game, I said 6 points away. That's 2 games.
Yeah.
I think that gives you a massive boost. And those are the kind of games, if you are West Brom, if you win, gives you the confidence.
Yeah.
For Newcastle,
I said they need to win that game if they're going to have a half chance of staying up. They haven't. I think they're gone now. I think 2 and 1, 3 are gone.
To be honest, this game, they had 0-0 written all over it. Newcastle, trying to think of a phrase to say this, which is a bit more professional. Basically, Newcastle can't score. They couldn't buy a goal at the minute. And West Brom are actually a tough team to score against. They hold very well. But West Brom also don't score many goals. It had 0-0 written all over it. I think it's 2 points lost for Newcastle, but I also think it's 2 points lost for West Brom.
Yeah.
Probably more so West Brom.
Yeah, to actually give them a chance. I don't think it's a point, a happy point
For either side.
for either side. I think both will walk away from that way. All right, we've not been deep, but we need the points here.
Yeah.
And neither team have got it. But sometimes when you've got teams playing that are that close together, that happens. Neither team get the point. Unfortunately, you've got to be picking them up.
Still is Newcastle in such a sort of precarious.
It's what I mean. All the way through, we talk about Fulham staying up. It's Brighton going down. I actually think it could be Newcastle go down, mate. They can't score.
Yeah, I don't know.
Both of them scored the exact same amount. Both got 27 goals in the 27 games they played. A goal a game is not traditionally not good enough to keep you up. They'll keep one of them up.
Yeah. That's what I mean. I think if Newcastle don't find some quality and start scoring, I think they got Callum Wilson. I'd have expected him to be banging in a lot more than he has. But It's the quality. Exactly, it's the quality around him. But they just can't. They don't score enough for me. And I think at the end of the day, bit of a Michael Owen coming up. But if you don't score goals, you don't win games.
Yeah, I think. Oh, one last point. What do West Brom need to do to avoid relegation, or is it too late now?
It's too
Probably
tight
hard
now.
no for
Yeah.
me.
I said
Probably
was there.
It's not
half time.
impossible.
Premier League.
It's not impossible, but it'd be taking an absolute job.
We talk about West Brom as like it's not impossible, like the Great Escape. They've only got 4 points more than Sheffield United.
Yeah.
And I've been talking about Sheffield United.
They're going down. But you know what? I hope they go down because.
I don't think some stadium. Like we
This
said
is what I
last
mean.
week.
We've said it last week. We've said it for weeks, really. I do hope that they can because I would like to see Big Sam stay with them and bring a team up. Look, you talk about Fulham squad, right? And you talk about are they Premier League quality. Like I said, without a doubt. You look at West Brom squad. It's not Premier League quality. It's not.
Yeah.
And to be honest, they'll go down. They might come back up, but
I think
It's
West
just-
Brom would go down and come back up.
I think they're in the
I think
best
they will.
chance to come straight back up.
But do I think they're in a risk if they don't get better quality players? I think they're in a risk of being a bit of a up down team, a bit of a yo-yo team between the leagues. And, to be quite honest, it's not what you want to be. All right, if you go down, you come back up. There's a lot of financial gain in it because there's a lot of money coming up from the Championship. But it's not what you want to be. You want to be in the Premier League. Right now, that squad has enough quality to go down and come back up. But I don't know if it's got enough quality to stay up the second time round if they don't get better quality players.
Well, I think that will do it all for the Premier League chat. I'll now move you on to Championship. Are we doing
Championship. We're doing
Championship.
Championship. We'll work our way down.
We're just
through
going to do
divisions.
like a whistle top store.
A what?
A whistle stop store of the EFL. We're going to start in the Championship
That's right,
with Josh, and I'll take League One.
So in terms of the table, Norwich looking like runaway champions, similar to City, 10 points clear, won all of the last 5. That won't change. You've got Watford and Swansea both on 66, battling it out for the next automatic. And the playoffs shaping up to be interesting with Barnsley. Have had a brilliant season sneaking into the last playoff spot of a minute. And if they can hold that out, then maybe it's definitely been a good season for them. At the other end of the table, Wickham looking done and dusted.
Yeah.
Same for Sheffield Wednesday. And then you've got your Rotherhams, Birmingham's, Coventry's and Derby's, and Huddersfield on the same point as the last two I just mentioned. That's probably your relegation scrap in there. Always keep an eye on it. Rotherham have a few more games. They've missed a few because of COVID, missed the third because of COVID at the weekend.
Just
So,
postponed another game.
yeah, got games in hand. Will that play into hands? Maybe come the end of the season. But 2 teams down there, Coventry and Derby. That's where the main news is coming from so far. Coventry, delighted to see this as a football fan. Confirmed their return to the Ricoh Arena for next season.
Great ground.
Signed a 10-year contract to return there, and it looks like it's solved a bit of. Finally solved. Since leaving Highfield Road in 2005, their ground situation's always been a bit controversial, a bit precarious. They spent the 2013-14 season at Northampton Town Sixfields. They played this game at Birmingham St Andrews. Since Marico was bought in 2014 by the Wasps, there was a bit of failed negotiations, which meant the moving to Sixfields for that season. And at the end of last campaign, Sisu couldn't arrange an agreement, hence why they played in Birmingham. But we're seeing out this season at St Andrews, but returning to Marico, which I'm delighted to see as a football fan.
I'm also happy that it's happened in time for hopefully
Fans to come back.
And it'll be back.
And Sisu still says he's still aiming to build the new stadium on ground currently owned by the University of Warwick, which could be interesting if and when it happens. And Derby, the takeover still being stalled there. In November, we had an agreement in principle with Mel Morris and Holdings, looking as if it was time to go. They spent over 200 million at Derby with no promotion. They were keen to buy and to buy it, key to get it done, key to get it across the line. Sheikh Khaled, cousin of Man City, Sheikh Mansour, looked like the right man. Everything was in place. They reassured fans that it would happen both before and after Christmas, that the deal was imminent. But they remain unsold. And what I'm worried about there is he's previously tried to buy Liverpool and no success with that. And last year, 2 years ago now, 2019, he failed very publicly to buy Newcastle United, with Mike Ashley claiming his finances might not be all there. So, will that go ahead? I hope so for Derby. Derby got a soft spot for him, and they do need good investment if they are looking to return to the Premier League. At the other end of the table, the news comes from 8th and 9th, Cardiff and Middlesbrough. Mick McCarthy and Neil Warnock, two very experienced managers in the game, both got top flight experience. Both been rewarded with extensions. Warnock's second oldest manager in England, been given a 1-year extension. When he took over from Jonathan Woodgate, he secured the safety and turned them into playoff contenders. Next season, he'll be open to go one better and maybe get them in the playoffs and promoted. Mick McCarthy, an amazing run form. He's took Cardiff from near the relegation zones up to 8th, just outside the playoffs. He's unbeaten in 11 since he's took over. Won 7 of those. And he's took the relegation team under Neil Harris to playoff contenders. And next season, hopefully, him and Warnock will be doing the same and keep that development going. So he talked about a few of the teams in the relegation. I hope Coventry stay up. It'll be nice for if fans do come back. They're back in Rico. Birmingham, Huddersfield, Derby, they're all big clubs you're talking about. I think Wickham and Sheffield Wednesday are the dead certs, and it moves on nicely to who might be replacing them in League One. Over to Connor.
Well, I think if you'd have asked me this question 2-3 weeks ago, I'd have said Lincoln definitely. But after last night, Hull and Peterborough actually sit in the automatic places. Lincoln have been iffy form of recently since Michael Atherton actually signed his extension. They've been in such strange form, fall down to 3rd. But my 2 big bits of news from League One. I'm going to have to not smile when I say one of them, but it's actually takeover news. I'm going to start with Ipswich Town, who did finally, after such a weird saga, sack Paul Lambert, and Paul Cook was appointed the next day. Good luck, Cookie. Love you. Doing the job. But the second bit of news, and I'm going to hold the table because I'm touching wood. Wigan, look, finally, after 9 months of pure shite, looks set to be taken over by a Bahrainian man who's going to put money into the club, and we're going to stay a club. That's basically it. The bottom 6. Again, I think if you'd have asked me a couple of weeks ago, I'd say Wigan were down. I'd have said Burton were down. But the bottom 6 at the minute is so tight. I can't call it.
Floyd Hasselbank, on a quick note, took over Burton, took it from bottom of the table to 18. Now they're safe. We're playing them at the weekend and I'm terrified for it.
Yeah, they're right.
Floyd Hasselbank's worked wonders since coming back over.
Joey Barton at Bristol Rovers, taking them right out of trouble. Rochdale, financially struggling at the minute, bottom of the league, 28 points. But yeah, it's very tight at the bottom of League One, but those are these 2 big bits of news from League One.
Looking into League Two, some of the clubs that might be overtaking them, and it's one of the tightest run-ins I've ever seen at the top of the table. There's 6 points between top of the league Cheltenham to Exeter, who sit in 8th. There's 8 teams out, all so close. I saw something, I think it was last week, the points went down in order for the top 8 positions.
Yeah.
If fans are back in next season, I'm looking forward to it. Crucial we'll be staying in League One comfortably. You've got Cheltenham, they're by Cambridge, which is brilliant for an away day, but Forest Green, Tranmere, and Morecambe. Newport County's not brilliant. Banksy Coventry is Bolton is going in the playoffs.
Knew it was going.
Exeter, maybe even as far down as Salford, looking at them in 9th. They're only 9 points behind the league leaders, but 4 behind the playoffs. It's so tight at the top of the table, impossible to call. I think Cheltenham, they've played brilliantly all season. I'd like to see them go up. They've got 2 games in hand on the team in second as well, and to a point clear of them. I think Cambridge will probably stay, and they've been good. Tranmere picking up form of late in the whatever it is now, the Pizza Cup or whatever it is. it's always been the Johnston's paint to me. Tranmere in the final of that against Sunderland, so they're on a brilliant run of form. Hopefully they can sneak into it as well. Bottom end of the table, it's games in hand will play a massive part there. You've got Grimsby, who are bottom by 4 points, but have 2 games in hand on the team above. Southend, they're probably looking the most done and dusted at the minute, with 34 games played and only 29
Liverpool
points.
struggling financially.
Yeah, that's true. Finance situation isn't brilliant there. Barrow next, out of relegation zone at the minute.
Come on, Barrow.
Only on
Send you our love.
only on goal difference, they say for a minute, but
Doesn't matter.
3 games in hand on Port Vale, who are a massive club.
They'll
As
win
much as
all.
I hate to admit it,
They'll win them all.
they're a massive club to be in a relegation, in fact, to the conference. And in fact,
Who?
Leeds
Barrow?
City bottom
I know.
news.
Huge.
The
Barrow
main,
will stay up.
yeah.
Come on, Barrow.
The main news comes from Oldham Athletic, appointed former Northampton Town boss Keith Gill as their head coach after getting rid of Harry Cool. I'm nearly first in. I'm
He's
restraining.
gonna sing the song. He's gonna sing a song for you.
I'm retaining myself in a minute. Cool took charge in August, and despite scoring 49 goals, the third highest in the league, left Galactics when they were 16th, conceding the league's highest 56 goals. The fake Galactics, of course.
Yeah.
for Connor. And so it's the defensive side of it that Curl will be looking to improve. It's not Colchester. I'm getting worried. I'm preparing for which one as Carlisle fans will be singing, "Whoa, mysterious Curl, he wants to play 3-5-2." And if that shows up Oldham's defence, they'll be happy. He led the Cobblers out of the relegation zone, promoted into League One, left after a poor run of form. But his first game against Port Vale, managing the struggling, a 0-0. He kept the clean sheet. Vale deserved to win. They had like 20 odd shots on target, I think. Couldn't score. But, exactly. And, speaking of them, before I'll go and wash my mouth out with soap and water, they're struggling. They are a big team to be down there. They're in horrendous form. Darryl Clark took over in February, working alongside Danny Pugh as his assistant. David Flitcroft, director of football.
Who's still there?
He's got
Blackburn, surely.
he's got big names around him for Leaford. We're still struggling. He's a
What is he
pretty.
director of football? Just
I don't know.
He was unreal.
He was a brilliant manager. Everyone's like Flitcroft announced as director of football.
Strange.
I don't know,
I
but
didn't
Carol
know that.
Shenanigans or whatever her surname is, she's doing her own thing down at Vale Park. Clark's gained a lot of experience. Bristol Rovers, he led into the Football League again. Walsall, he did superbly. He's got high win percentage, nearly 50%. He's got a history of playing the right football, promoting and developing young players. He's come to Vale, played 6, drawn 3, lost 3. They've got rid of Askew. It wasn't working before. It's not working now. And with the games in hand, what I mentioned before, could they be dragged into it? That's my main thing from League 2. I hope so. From a non-biased point of view.
We hope so because we want Barrow to stay up.
Yeah.
As long as Barrow stay up, we're
We're
not
happy.
That
That rounds up League 2.
rounds up the EFL.
Well, thank you for joining us today, watching our podcast. We will be doing another one next week.
Same time.
Same place.
Every Wednesday.
Socials on the.
Yeah, all our
Feed and
socials
stuff.
are in the bio. If you want to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and this will be going on YouTube this week. We actually managed to record this one.
So like and subscribe.
You say that we haven't checked yet.
No, I made sure this one is recorded. So we are, my media, man. Thank you.
Nice meeting you.